everybody, those thunder clouds above me and the storm that you're hearing are apt for what I'm about to tell you. Take a look. NASCAR has banned the Confederate flag. NASCAR has banned the Confederate flag. And for me, this day marks an amazing sea change in a symbol that, as a young boy going into teenage uh, period of his life, uh, meant only one thing, and it meant this for me. It meant the Dukes of Hazzard. That's right. And I'm not the only black guy to say so, because there's a black guy in LA who has a replica of the General Lee spiked in his lawn, who was also a big fan of the Dukes of Hazzard. And he and I and others only watched it for one reason. It wasn't those two dudes, no. It was Daisy Duke. Look, we're boys, okay? But the point that I'm making is this. The other reason that was the case is because at the time, we didn't have social media, and we didn't have the rise in hate groups that we have today, which have used the Confederate flag deliberately as a way to say to someone black, oh, hey, I am for white supremacy and all this other jazz. Although there are some who would say, well, it's just a celebration of the Old South. But then, of course, that's a veiled way of saying about pretty much the same thing. The point that I'm making is, if those folks who appropriately used the Confederate flag as a symbol and then tried to make it a positive story about the South had maintained their larger voice, this wouldn't have happened. But the simple fact that NASCAR was moved to do this, in particular by the only African-American race driver at NASCAR, is because of the racism he experienced and those people, evil people, who would take the flag and use it and push it to remind others of how racist they wanted to be. So under the context of how the Confederate flag was violated in its use and presented in a way that divided people, what NASCAR did was just, right, and perfect for the day. Subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube and bookmark oaklandnewsnow.com. And I want to hear from other black men who grew up during the time of the Dukes of Hazzard and think the same way that I do. I know you're out there. Let's talk.